Ladies and gentlemen, it is Monday, the best day of the week, and it is currently February 6, 2012, and this is Day 9 Daily number 414, where ordinarily we learn to be a better gamer, but it's Monday, so it's time to dick around. In very exciting news, I didn't pay rent. There's an interesting fee system in the house where for every day you miss, it sort of doubles the fee that you have to pay. It's getting up there. I mean, I'm not broke. Believe me, if I was broke, I probably wouldn't be just cheerily joking about, guys, I'm gonna be evicted. But fortunately, it's only gonna be like a $25 fee. But I didn't pay rent. And if you perhaps have a house, maybe a mortgage or an apartment with rent, you should pay it if you haven't already. Who is a beacon of good decision making? His name is Day 9, and he drinks water from a Fight-On mug. Excellent. I'm hoping that everyone had a wonderful time watching sports ball yesterday, where the Super Bowl came on and large men battled against each other in pursuit of points. Sports ball, most points ever. As it turns out, one team had a case of butterfingers, or as we like to call it, they just never caught any balls thrown at them ever under any circumstance, no matter what period ever, especially not in the fourth quarter. If you guys didn't watch the Super Bowl, I would just say from the point of view of someone neutral in a room full of Patriots fans, it was hilarious, and it made me feel inspired for today's Funday Mondays. Spoiler alert, Giants won. Sorry. I mean, the Patriots did a nice comeback in the fourth quarter. They actually won. But, you know, the Giants will have to try better next time. I'm just kidding, the Giants won. Patriots won. Excellent. So, you know, what we're going to do is we're going to introduce the Funday Monday topic of the day. The Alphabetical Free For All. In the Alphabetical Free For All, you must play in a public FFA on Battle.net, and you must kill off your opponents in alphabetical order. Simple as that. If you engage in a battle with someone who is not in that alphabetical lineup, you have violated the rules. Under a few circumstances, if two people are invading one base at the same time, the units kind of happen to cross over, it's okay. It is not a big deal. We permit this. But in terms of actually attacking, has to be alphabetical. That's all there is to it. Now, there is something that I've been wanting to try lately. You might think it's time to get a little bit sexy, but I don't know if you've ever had a leather belt. And I don't know if any of you are wearing headphones right now, but I'd recommend pulling them away from your ears. Did that come across loudly? I don't know. I'm going to find out in the chat pretty soon. So let's go ahead and begin Funday Monday, now that a lot of people wearing headphones hate me. As we go ahead and step into the game, in the intro, we have, oh no, Beta Plus. Beta Plus in the top right corner. I did enable the sound. Excellent. In the bottom right, Sacred Pony. Oh, he's in good shape. Amazingly, Sacred Pony not in last place in the name battling competition. We do have Guardman down here in the bottom left, and of course Zeno. All of them are not doing too poorly in terms of the name race. But Beta Plus is the one who's going to be in a little bit of trouble. Now, for any of you who do not know, in Funday Monday, we always begin with an introductory game. And our focus player to begin things is going to be Beta Plus. He is the unfortunate fellow in the top right in the light teal color. It looks like he's going to be going for an 11 pool. Now, in terms of just basic FFA logic, Zeno is in comfortable position to early expand, as he is in the X, but he has to be careful to do a little bit of polling. Is anyone else doing the Funday Monday topic? Well, we're not quite sure yet. Soon enough we'll find out if anyone has plans to invade the man known as Beta Plus. So let's go ahead and step things up just a smidge and get into the action. Sacred Pony's interestingly going for Engineering Bay first. He hasn't really done too much in the main base. Meanwhile, down in the bottom left, we see Guardman is getting his orbital command up, has that factory en route as well. And as the double gas, could be something like a Banshee. Starport coming up right there. But it looks like our good friend Sacred Pony is getting the high-sec auto-tracking that no doubt helps support the planetary fortress upgrade, the turret upgrade. Excellente. It does appear that Sacred Pony is planting himself down a friendly neighborhood command center. And Zeno Looks like we have 2 players researching the fast engineering bay upgrade. Ooh. Uh-oh. Oh, Xeno and Sacred Pony. Looks like everyone is aware that there's someone up here whose name starts with B. Now, Beta Plus is doing, I guess, probably a reasonable build to hold off something like a 4-gate. Guardman has found the enemy. He has found the enemy up in the top right corner. And here... Oh, this is a special moment in anyone's life when you are going proxy command center with, of course, the very fast high-sec auto-tracking upgrade, and you stumble across a Terran going for a, I guess, a very fast high-sec auto-tracking upgrade. Now, this is somewhat unorthodox in a normal FFA. You're going to have to be a little careful about managing your space, but Beta Plus is already starting to feel under a little bit of pressure. He does manage to repel, but it looks like Xeno has a lot more SCVs. He's got to be careful to land first, so that way he doesn't end up blocking everything else that's there. Alright, the barracks have lifted up. They're pulling over to the other side, and it looks like Xeno does have that auto-repair turned on, but he has to make sure he can get his planetary fortress up first. But the enemy of my enemy is my friend. So it looks like Xeno's going to lift up and try to let Sacred Pony's command center finish up a little bit, but Beta Plus does have an awful lot of roaches on the scene already, and there it is, the finished planetary fortress. Now, while this planetary fortress has taken some serious fire, it's time for Xeno to go ahead and unload and morph his planetary fortress, and it looks like the mules are doing their best. Ooh, it just needs to unburrow and unload a volley. Beta Plus literally needs to unload only a single volley of roach fire. He's unloading exactly the bare minimum needed to not kill the planetary fortress. This is not unlike the gentleman in college who does the bare minimum to get 59% on his exams and fail. You want to make sure you get to that key 60% mark, because a 59 versus a 60 means pretty big difference, especially in the American education system. Now, Sacred Pony is going to be doing a little bit of ponying in this top left of Planetary Fortress. He has some backup Marines there, do a little bit of damage. Beta Plus is still valuing keeping roaches alive as opposed to not letting a second Planetary Fortress finish in his base. It looks like Xeno does not quite have the resources to get his own planetary fortress out, but oh no, it looks like Sacred Pony shooting at this command center. Sacred Pony wants to be the only planetary fortress in town. The unfortunate truth is that Guardman is also doing the Funday Monday and has a medevac in the backside of his base. Excellent. Guardman already bringing a little bit of the noise, but that's okay. Beta Plus does have Burrow, which means despite the fact that he is in, I guess, second to dead last in food, he is in fact not doing too well in terms of income. His production is, he has a roach, that's good, it's a non-zero production. But there's the scan, yeah, it looks like no one really wants to be very nice, but that's okay. Beta Plus does have the power of Micro. Which side am I popping up on? Micro! He does manage to take everything out. Guardman is going to drop just out of range of this planetary fortress and try to pick off any outlying roaches that he can. Guardman is a man who respects the rules, but of course does not respect Beta Plus, who is the poorest, saddest fellow in the StarCraft land. Now, as we take a brief gander around the rest of the mini-map, it looks like Sacred Pony is just adding on more and more and more barracks, and a Ghost Academy. Excellent. In the top left, we see well, it looks like, honestly, Xeno's going for some Ghost Academies as well. If at first you don't Planetary Fortress Rush, just nuke the shit out of your opponents. Guardman is the only person who seems to be doing something reasonable by hitting a button other than the Planetary Fortress and nuke. But he is using some amazing micro, some incredible, delightful micro up there on the top side. Beta Plus not having a single shred of emotion shared, carefully microing his roaches and drones, correctly pulling them and lifting them all at reasonable times. Now it looks like Beta Plus is going to send out a scout roach, because right now his view of the minimap is that there are at least 2 complete dicks on the screen. One of them's blue and one of them's purple, and there is that very foreign jerk who keeps floating into our base. But Beta Plus has held off the threats for now. All he has to do is find a good time to hit that planetary fortress. And after some nice micro, he's looking good. 2 nukes finishing up in Xeno's base. Uh-oh. Oh, here comes the ghost. Because if you haven't been able to kill him with the Planetary Fortress Rush, he's still in the game. You still have to make certain to kill them off in alphabetical order, and it looks like the ghost does manage to escape. Xeno's trying to sneak in, but But he'll never say die, because he's no doubt sending a second ghost any second now. There it is. Xeno getting ready to continue to be a complete jerk. Beta Plus is still hanging a little bit low at about half the food of any other player. We see ghost number 2 from Xeno swinging on in. Oh, there we go. Everything landed perfectly. Of course, Guardman. Guardman has to make certain that he does end up doing something productive with his day, and there's the nuke going down. Now, Beta Plus is having a hard time. He's not in the greatest condition in this game, but that's okay, because every now and again, you'll get those Admiral Aardvarks who can pull through. Beta Plus, we'll see if he can be the heroic Admiral Aardvark. There's the nuke going down. Sacred Pony carefully positioning his Marines to deal with these 7 roaches, but Burrow is not as effective against nuclear missiles. Those poor roaches. I can't imagine what it must be like in Cold War Zerg territory where they say, drones, if you just hide under your desk when the nuclear bomb goes off, you'll be fine. Don't worry, all the drones did this drill in 3rd grade. It's cool. It's just a nuke. I have a desk made of balsa wood above my head. It's fine. Oh, Cold War. Beta Plus is having not the greatest time ever. Looks like Guardman is trying to find a good angle of approach. He has got to be careful. Go! And he narrowly avoids a nuke, so that way he can successfully drop, siege up, and finish off Beta Plus. I mean, Burrow should work against the nukes. Oh, Guardman. Be careful, Guardman. Oh, already starting to spring up some controversy. But of course, Guardman knows the rules. He's got to pull out in time. But this one planetary fortress, the ghost kills himself. The Baneling, the Broodlings come in from behind, and Sacred Pony does lose the planetary fortress. It appears that the only confrontation between these 3 players has been up at the top right corner by Beta Plus, who once again does still have some scout roaches. Trying to find a good angle of approach, but unfortunately, any angle that he goes in this game will run him into enemies. And Beta Plus is out. Now the real game begins. Sacred Pony, not the last in terms of alphabetism. Guardman is next up. Xeno seems to be in a little bit of a delightful protection mode. He cannot be invaded. He is continuing to produce as many nukes as he possibly can, and it looks like Sacred Pony is the next name on the list. Time to trip over my words. That's okay. What I was doing is I was casting as an overlord. If you played StarCraft 1, that's highly accurate, whereas overlords in StarCraft 2 just kind of sound like creepy pedophiles. Defensive nuke ends up being not success. Oh, it does manage to take out 3 tanks. All he has to do is cloak. I would not let that nuke land, Sacred Pony. I would beware of letting that defensive nuke land, and he does cancel at the cost of his life. It looks like Guardman is continuing to add on a couple extra reinforcements, but it seems that did my ears tell me the truth? While it looks like Guardman was doing a little bit of invading, it appears he had a little bit of a defensive issue. Oh, that's right. Xeno is trying to throw down a couple of nukes of his own, because now he has his very own enemy. Now, Guardman is permitted to defend. So this is completely legal, letting all of those units die. Another nuke planting down. Guardman's got to be careful. He's busy invading the enemy in the bottom right of the mini-map, and it doesn't work. And it looks like ghosts do counter Thors, especially when they don't move versus the nuke. Again, the repair guard man manages to narrowly escape, but if there's one person who's having trouble narrowly escaping, it is going to be Sacred Pony in the right corner. Xeno is he's a little paranoid. Looks like he does manage to cancel. Very American style. I think that cave has a threat in it. Start sending the nuke. Excellent. Oh, and of course don't nuke directly next to where your ghost is standing. It looks like Sacred Pony has managed to successfully stay alive, and if he can continue to hide those barracks, it means that Guardman will continue to have to chase them down. He might have to make some extra Vikings, but until then, Marine Thor nonstop. Now, per usual in the intro game of the Funday Monday, it's important that you note that you don't actually have to just make ghosts. Zeno appears to be mono-battling, but if he wanted to, he could make anything like Marines, Thors. If he hit any button other than G, that would be fine, but it looks like rather than just waltzing up and shooting this one Thor, he's going to continue to try to nuke at it. You don't actually have to run away there, but a couple of snipes, a couple of EMPs. This is an awfully effective way to deal with repair. You simply nuke all the SCVs in the style of a true American. This is the cannon getting ready to be shot at the mosquito on the wall, which if you are as scared of bugs as I am, that seems to be pretty much okay. Wouldn't really worry about the judgment that we're seeing from Zeno. He just wants to make sure that he has it done. He's the man who seals his envelopes in duct tape and super glue and puts it in an airtight compartment that you need to solve to open. It doesn't actually have a key, because just in case you'd spoil the surprise, Zeno has an answer prepared. As it turns out, ghosts are somewhat suboptimal against Thors, but the real problem that Guardman's having... Zeno. Oh, Zeno working himself into a corner, but as long as we have nukes... kill off. Oh, and I think he's going to be fine. He just has to be a little bit careful because there's less of Red's units there and more of Zeno's units here. Now, the greatest part of all is that Sacred Pony is still in the game. He's still doing a good job of deferring Guardman's intentions of ripping apart the top left side of the map that has only ghosts and nukes. Sacred Pony continuing to try to step in there. I would love to see that Supernatural episode where Sam and Dean try to go up to the top left corner of the map to take out a scary ghost infestation, but they have to deal with nukes. Oh my god, can you imagine the fanfic? Those two handsome brothers with a nuclear bomb ready to fall down on them at any moment. They might have to profess their perhaps not so only brotherly love for each other. If there's any ladies watching, you know what I'm talking about. Sam and Dean are hot! Woo! But, of course, most of the people watching are men who consume nothing but anime. Don't worry about it, guys. You gotta just spread into popular media. There's nothing wrong with a grown man respecting the look of another grown man. And there it looks like we see, looks like a spark plug falling out of that factory. Sacred Pony gets eliminated, and now it's time for Guardman to step into action. Guardman stepping forward, Zeno having a complete trust fund up on the top side, running into some issues, which is that if he gets scanned ever at any point, no matter what, he loses. But this is a fairly straightforward FFA battle. The important thing is that Beta Plus at the outset of the game wasn't having the best time. We see some nukes going down because apparently in the midst of being about to die, he said... better knock out the economy of Red, because he's the only one with an economy right now. We should be fair and reasoned. Guardman gonna take out a trio of SCVs and lose his whole fucking base. A couple of scans later, and he manages to take out the SCVs in a tree. He has eliminated a tree, which could be potentially dangerous if he were playing Farmville. But no offense, StarCraft 2, not quite as casual friendly as Farmville. Not exactly. Although I would love to see the StarCraft 2 Facebook integration work that way. Where it's like, Sean plots successfully microed his Marines against Banelings. Sean built an SCV. Sean built an SCV. Sean built an SCV. Sean dropped. Sean built an SCV. Sean got supply blocked. Don't share. Do not share with any of my friends. I would think that that would be a good marketing schema. Guardman going to go ahead and try to do a little bit of damage, but Zeno's not done yet. He does have his orbital command, which reminds me a lot of times of those special little scooters that they sometimes have in grocery stores for people who are just so unhealthy that they can't actually stand while shopping. They instead have to get into, I guess, a mobile food gathering pot. I don't even know what it is. It always just makes me think of some little snuffleupagus just scooting them along as they parade through the grocery store, just going, it's too high. I guess I'll just go for the cereal that's at arm's length. One of those things. Xeno's going to go ahead and try to build yet more and more and more and more of these command centers, because it's at this point in time when we realize that we may have made some bad decisions in the past, and what we actually need to do is stop building ghosts. It's fine, because if we want to, we can still research the structure, armor, or perhaps the neo-steel frame. 6 in the bunkers! 6 in the bunkers! Not a bad deal at all. Command center finishing up. Guardman, of course, successfully having a base, and without ever EMPing the orbital command. It looks like Guardman is in good condition. I can't be something, but bro, I hope you weren't playing seriously. Now, just to throw it out there, I'd like to reiterate the fact that I provide the Funday Monday challenge somewhat as an excuse, because I know how easy it is to lose a game and to say, oh, I was doing the strategy, I didn't really... I mean, my mom was trying to pick up the phone and call my aunt, I'm on a 56K and it messed up my connection, I couldn't micro, I don't know, this Facebook integration with StarCraft 2 was telling every time I built an SCV, it locked at my system, so I'm sorry, that's why I lost. And you hear that excuse and you think, bullshit. But with Funday Monday, all you gotta say is, Funday Monday, rats, it didn't work. If you're nuking and you say, I can't be something, but bro, I hope you weren't playing seriously, already I'm trying to figure out what 4-letter word is in there. I can't be, but bro, hope you weren't playing seriously. I assume it's the F word. I guess that makes the least not sense to me. So I'm going to go ahead and go with that. I can't be asked, but bro, hope you weren't playing seriously. Few things say not seriously as a man who hits the T button as many times as possible. And Xeno splits Guardman, giving us the intro game to this week's Funday Monday. Now, before we go on to part 2, I just want to note that there's an interesting things that happen when we start stepping into the gray areas of rules. We've heard a little bit about the Funday Monday challenge, but every now and again, we might slip up. We're going to find out a little bit more about that in part 2 in 2 minutes. I can't be boobed, but I hope you